released initially was, they said, opportunities to love Newport. But this is stuff that's all on your sort of collective radar. These are projects that are happening, throughout here. We have, in no particular order, was like Downtown Reimagined was one of them. Was the Victoria Landing Park. And then the one that I would like to sort of start with you guys, because it seems like an odd one, bear with me, it's Restaurant Row. In some ways, it's the smallest thing on your list. It's the most tightly defined. Restaurant Row. The reason I thought we should maybe start with that there, in case you guys maybe think about how we can support that and grow that, is because Restaurant Row is in the heart of your downtown. And downtowns, as I said, are the psychic centers of places. Even if the whole, we're all sort of, in our far-flung districts, and maybe downtown is only part of one particular person's district, downtown is everybody's neighborhood. If downtown is not vibrant, if downtown is not happening, then it's hard for the entirety of the city to feel like it is happening as well. Because again, even though I may live at the far north end, the far south end, downtown is my other neighborhood. Am I preaching to the choir here?
Music to my ears.
All right.
You are so right.
So it is in all of our interests to make sort of these symbolic things work and making downtown work. And I think Restaurant Row is a great place to start for a couple of reasons. Because we all got to eat. And food is one of those great ways where people come together there. And I understand there's a brewery down there. There's a couple restaurants down there as well. Some really cool old buildings and lots of potential there. So,
but the parking is not good.
Okay, but you know what? If you make it worth getting there, people will
make it
come.
work.
Yeah. Because I'm gonna tell you too, our city, and I do understand some people's mindset, but people don't realize when you're a city, if you came from a city like ours, that is city kind of, for me, city/country. When you go to the real city, it's not a huge parking lot for every business.
No.
You just gotta get in there and get used to the vibrancy and find a park. Everybody knows to wear flat shoes because you may have to park 2 blocks down.
That's right.
That is city thinking when you're creating a business and wheels turning. It's not a dedicated 400 parking space block for each restaurant. Business doesn't work like that.
Don't worry, we're not going to make Manhattan in downtown. That ain't happening. But you're right. But it doesn't matter. It's like, for folks here, folks from Manhattan to Chicago to DC to here, okay? Most of the time, we don't have a parking problem, we have a parking expectation problem. People think it's the mall, they should be able to park, walk right, no. So again, we're focused on the wrong thing. If we focus on creating a great destination and worth the effort, people will come. And we'll sort out the parking once we have to deal with that. So what's happening in Restaurant Row? What could we do? What's maybe something we can do in the next couple of months, Mr. Mayor? And then
where I have, in my limited travels, where I've seen the Restaurant Rows come up is when you merge arts with it.
yes, yeah. Because again, you want to feast for the feast for the body and feast for the senses. Well, here's the thing. I think arts tend to want to follow vibrancy. So you create a sense of activity that, hey, there's people coming down here. Then that becomes the natural place to do a mural, to do an art installation, to do a performance piece, down there. But I think we've got to create some traffic first, and I think the arts will absolutely
And art,
sort
when
of
you
follow.
say art, you mean just any
Visual arts, maybe, again, it could be street performers, could be, the local dance company comes down and does a performance on Friday night after work.
I was just trying to start.
Yeah, okay.
I'd asked this before, and so you guys don't have a farmer's market, or do you? Used to. Okay. What happened with that, and where was it located?
The one on 27th and Jefferson.
Which means nothing to me, but
But you asked.
yeah, I did. So was it downtown, or was it sort of?
Have you been to Piggly Wiggly?
I've heard of Piggly.
It was across
Okay.
kind of behind the farm.
Okay. Well, maybe it wasn't supported, maybe not, maybe it was the wrong location, wrong time. It might have just been the wrong time. Just because that didn't work before doesn't mean it won't work the next time. And maybe the next time we try it on a seasonal basis, right? Now, going into winter is probably not the best time to start a farmer's market. But next spring, next summer, could you do you have some time, could we do a summer farmer's market downtown? Because again, we're trying to create a sense of vibrancy and activity. Could we do it on Saturday? You know, there, which to me is like the natural day. Because if you do it like, you know, on a weekday, it's like, well, folks have jobs, they got to work. But we do the Saturday morning market in downtown St. Petersburg, where I live, is incredibly popular. It's one of the biggest markets in the southeast. Like over 10,000 people will come down every Saturday, and it's wonderful. Like 120 plus vendors. Takes over a parking lot. You know, it magically appears overnight and it disappears that same day.
But I think you have to think it, oh, I'm sorry, can you talk?
I was thinking Super Bowl.
Super block?
Yeah, because I think too, you have to look at, well, for ours, I think timing, as the mayor said, but then look, you know, we're looking at the community. You know, was that you know, we hear things about people being afraid to come to the area, so, because of the surroundings. So I think that was, oh, y'all are looking at it?
We're looking at this right now. So this is apparently, this is the distillery. There's a brewery going in over here. There's, well, we've got some temporary signage, and I see lots of space here, right? Well, let's start, okay, Restaurant Road could be a temporary restaurant road. Could we do a food truck rally? Once a month,
Yes, we've been so.
you know, there. And let's just get people used to
You're
the
gonna do
idea
it on
that,
the
hey,
Saturday, you can
something's
use City
happening.
Hall parking lot right across the street.
There you go. We don't even need a permit.
No, we have to change our mind about parking.
When you look at,
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, when you look at the area, there's not a lot of draws to bring people to the area because of the lack of activity. I mean, you have City Hall, you have people that work.
Yeah, we gotta start somewhere.
And then you look at other parts of the city where you have recreational activities, where people come bring their kids for a practice, for a game.
Yeah.
So what can be considered that would bring more traffic to that area, just not to come to the Commissioner of Revenue's office or to a city council meeting?
Again, right now, there's not a whole lot of reason to come down here. I agree. So what we're trying to do is this is induced demand. So we're trying to get people to think about this as a place to go for some activity. The fact that there's the distilleries here, brew pub is coming. There's at least a couple restaurants down here now. That's the beginnings of an entertainment district.
There's a restaurant down here, if I understand it correctly,
Yes.
that does catering and.
And that's underutilized, that it's property that the
Maybe
city
not
owns and
all the
leases.
time.
Well,
to
you know
someone.
what? If they knew that folks were coming down here on a Friday night or, you know, the food truck rally or something like that. Here's the thing about creating an event. Let's not overthink it. Here's the Garden Hose event. A band and a beer truck.
Yeah.
Then invite some food trucks for, you know, that food trucks are great at that particular point, right? So it looks like there's plenty of spaces for that. Again, I'm trying to get people used to the idea that something is going to happen downtown.
But
It's my understanding at that restaurant though, when she has certain events, it's packed.
Yeah, it is.
It's just nobody knows about it, but a certain group of people. If we could do that partnership, if we could do the partnership with JT's,
Yeah, she'd probably love to affect something like that.
but just so council will know, to set the stage, we've been having these conversations in this general area. Everett is working on a plan, we have the design, we are putting in lighting, and there'll be a stage, and there'll be some benches to build off what's currently there. And then the thought is, what else? Yes.
Well, but JT's and Ironclad are talking, it's just trying to get the support from the outer city.
And to make people, because it's actually not that far, you can walk from to the different places, but it feels further. How do we make that connectivity? And Peter's talking about people feel safe. What do we do along there? Is it art or is it something that makes it neat? But we have taken some preliminary steps there. We're trying to go for a grant to get some artwork to put artwork on the asphalt. So there's some things that we're doing. We just need the park to do some more to energize it.
So, Marcellus, you talked about, what could be done to get, you talked about families and kids.
Correct.
And so let me turn that back to you all. What would families and kids come out to if you put it here?
Well, a lot of, for instance, I said recreational activity. Like if I have to take my kids, so if the kids have to be somewhere, I'm going along with them.
Isn't there Isn't there
I
a
mean,
park?
we have a
like,
big
right up
center,
here?
you
Yeah.
Well, we have
have,
the 4th of July, it is swamped.
you have
Exactly.
marathon, but you have those, that's 4th of July, that's once a year, marathon, that's once
That's what I'm
a year.
saying.
What
So
other-
name 3 things you would like to take your kids out to.
We take them to recreation, like a game, festival. I mean, we have festivals in Newport Park.
Fall festival, yeah.
You don't have festivals in this area. You have Victory Landing, which is a location that we have activities, but I don't feel we have as many that could bring more people down more often.
I think, this park up here, I think is an opportunity to do something that is definitely more family friendly there.
And it's about
So-
connectivity, it's within,
Yeah.
you can see it from there.
There's one.
You just don't have a
And there's absolutely a place for that, and we need to do that. But if we're talking about Restaurant Row's for mom and dad at this point. You know, it's for the singles, it's for the working folks there. Yeah, I've got it. You know, my kid. You know, I got to get back to the kids at some point. You know, the babysitter's there. But you know what? Tonight it's about us, and I think that's okay to do this. That everything. Here's the thing. Everything doesn't have to be family friendly. In fact, it probably shouldn't be. Because you know what? If that's the case, and if everything is family friendly, then we're looking at reducing us all down to this level there. And sometimes I want some R-rated entertainment, you know, and that's okay there. Or at least I want to have a drink there. So, you know, this area feels like this is the adults area. There's clearly an opportunity to integrate some family-friendly stuff, and there's lots of places where we should absolutely be focused on more family-friendly stuff for the kids. But those are places that are already built for that. There that already have maybe that as sort of our parks, or some of the playground areas where we can absolutely leverage that and do more with that. There. Because I don't think I really want kids running around the parking lots if there's a band and a beer truck, and that's maybe not the best place for them. You know, yes, sir.
We were talking about publicity as far as the food trucks. I'm trying to think of the food truck, is wherever they show up. I know we're doing the Alzheimer's walk. They were at the Todd Stadium at the far end, they're on the website.
They have a
And
following?
seafood, they have a following.
Yeah.
They don't even announce where they're gonna be, it's on the website, and they're, it's a fish.
Harmony.
Yeah, we got fish.
Got fish.
Yep. They
Yeah.
bring out people.
Okay. Well, and that's the thing, is you work with, you know, the food truck networks. You guys will know who a lot of them are. And it's not just one food truck. No, I want a dozen of them. Because that's an event. Right? One food truck is, you know, okay, that's the bare minimum to do something. No, 12 food trucks is a party, right? And you throw in a band there, and all of a sudden now you got something going. And that's, again, you said you had the parking, spaces for that. We could do stuff like that. Again, part of it is just getting into, this is muscle memory, folks. You know, when you go into, like, you start at the gym, you don't just go in and do, you know, like lift tons of weights, or you don't just go and run a marathon. No, you build up to this kind of stuff. You need to build up to, you know, having this really vibrant sort of downtown again. Because you're kind of going from like almost, there's not a whole lot of stuff going on there. So let's take a little step, and a little temporary step is a band, you know, a beer truck, some food trucks. And let's do it again. Because we're going to learn something from it. People are going to say, hey, it'd be really cool if we did this. Or somebody's going to come to you, one of those co-creators says, hey, my wife does the fire hula hoop dancing. She has a whole troop of people who'd be very happy to come out and do this. Great, let's get them here next time. Yeah, something like that. We have a performance art group that works on, you know, those giant puppets on stilts or something. Cool, bring them. You know, now let's do a dog parade. The next time, you know, there it's like, and we're gonna band beer truck, and it's a dog parade. So dress up your dog. We're gonna have, you know, oh, how about we get the county animal services? Hey, we'll come out. We'll give, you know, updates to, you know, your dog, the licensing or whatever. Yeah. So we actually accomplish some other stuff at the same time. I'm totally spitballing here, folks. But the whole idea here is to get people again into the habit. Do something small. Look around, see what worked. Well, that's good. What didn't work? Well, let's not do that again. Or let's tweak that one. Do it again. And do it again and again and again.
Well, to me, a perfect place for that is that lovely little park, Christopher Newport Park, that has a beautiful statue of a man looking out into the, Huntington, one of the founders of the whole city. A beautiful art that I bet half the people in this room have been and seen it in the last 3 years. And trucks wanted.
So this is the statue you're talking about?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's on your, it's like second page of your
And
document.
it's a lot, they have a fountain. I went one day with a friend, she took me down, because I've never been down there, and there wasn't a person in that park. No children, nobody. And they have, you know, swings, it's a beautiful little park.
Who's this guy?
Called Steve Hunter.
His daughter, and his daughter.
That's
Somebody in his family did that.
And again, one of the things you'll hear when we're talking about the strategic plan is something that we are working on. As you all know, there's Christopher Newport Park and there's Victory Landing Park. And there's what we thought was some kind of drop-off that you couldn't connect them. We have since found out that you can through, everybody said you couldn't, we kept pushing, you could connect them. We are working on and have funding for a trail to connect those two parks.
Wow.
Beautiful.
And then part of that also, if you remember, the plan is to get 28th Street to come over, and those flows
That's
right
right.
into it. The bridge goes right into it.
So,
you have
so
that
those are the long-term
Right,
plans.
absolutely.
So when we talk about, okay, now, what can we do to start getting some energy so that when those things start, those bigger infrastructure things come in, that people are already there and are ready to really run with this, right?
Well, you
And-
have some artwork there. You have a little traffic circle that food trucks could line up. You get a small combo band, and you got a night on the town.
But no, but to Marcella's point,
Or
that may
DJ.
be the family.
Yeah, that's the family.
That we, then the program, because it's about, as Peter said, it's about consistency and it's about frequency. And if you think there's an event there once every 6 months or something, you're not gonna come back.
So that's what I need to find out, okay, so as we're talking about family events, similar to that, does it have to always be, I know we need to be informed and have a plan, but can somebody from the outside organizing group?
Sure, we'd love
Because
it.
I think that's where we lose, because I've
Yeah,
heard that
that's
so
it.
many times.
If it's always the city,
Yeah, that we all, when people come with a plan, it's either the insurance is too high, which I know they need it, but they're always turned away, and sometimes I'm always getting calls about why they couldn't, and it looked like it would be less on us,
yeah.
and other people can really do ideas. It does not have to always, so I think we should look into whatever the
Maybe
legalities
it
are
needs to
calling,
be
because
done
I
in
know he's probably
partnership
down there
with the city.
saying, but,
Maybe the first few times it has to be in partnership with the city. When people come to us and say, look,
It
yeah.
absolutely does.
you know,
So
so,
was that a family reunion in that park? I mean, it would be perfect, I think, if somebody had a big family and.
can I share something kind of funny there? So, okay, Miss Christopher Newport Park there. It's like, that's kind of cool. I like that. But I was going to share here. Public art. Public art's a weird one. I've been using this in another talk that I've been doing. Public art's a little challenging for cities. You know, because you have to explain public art to people, right? It's like, why are we spending money on this kind of stuff when we've got potholes to fix, right? And you have that conversation. Public art is one of those things. It's like public art needs to elicit a response, and it could be, I hate it, or you know, or I don't get it. But that's okay. What public art, you want people to notice it, right? And public art exists in a different realm than, you know, the art you see in a museum or in a gallery, right? Public art has to engage with people in a certain way. And the reason I know that this is called Coyote and Cow, it's in Kirkland, Washington. The reason I know that this is actually a very successful piece of public art, other than the fact it's like, that's a little different, don't actually see that, is if you go online and you do an image search for this kind of stuff, you see tons of images like this. Right? People dressing up the coyote and the cow. They're playing with it. They're having fun with it, right? So, and I look at Mr. Christopher Newport here, maybe one of the first things that you guys could do, maybe it's the Parks Department, maybe it's one of the other departments, is let's dress him up. Let's dress him up for Christmas. He should get a hat. He should get an ugly sweater. Right? Do we have anybody who knits? You guys know what yarn bombing is? Right? Yarn bombing is essentially knitting a sweater for a tree or a sign or something like that. It's really kind of creative. But I think Christopher deserves an ugly sweater for Christmas. And then take pictures of it. And then, remember, you find your fun? Keep people's gonna say, oh, the city, they're a bunch of, those jerks, they always say no to stuff. Well, you know what? You put this out on your city's Instagram or your Facebook page and all this stuff, and people say, the city did that? It's like, yeah, we're a bunch of crazy folks over here. It's like, yeah, okay, that would be really good, because again, you're trying to change the culture and the expectation. Find your fun. Do something fun. This would be a great, thank you for suggesting, Newport Park. But again, let's do something with that. And then dress them in this, okay, what's the local team? If the Redskins ever do anything, you put something on there with that. Or the local college team or something like that. But this could be,
And the Christopher Newport College University can be part of that, the
Yeah.
students do.
yeah. The
Their
team
choir-
colors, a jersey,
their choir
something
could
like
come
that.
down and sing to
Yeah. So
that.
let's make it fun.
That's fine.
Well, they dress the lions up every year.
Right at
There's a whole
Oh.
committee that dresses the lion's bridge.
Yeah.
They put a wreath around it, and they keep, the high school, Denby High School.
Well, let's add something to their list that, Mr. Newport needs a sweater or something. What can we do with that?
That's good. Well, we do have, and what you need to know is we have a beautiful, I think, not everybody likes it, but I think some of our public art here in Newport News is fantastic, but it's not downtown.
But we
Think
have
of
the
where.
beach.
We
We have the,
I mean, it kind of should be spread around. I
I
get
think
that.
it should be
Okay.
spread, but,
I know, but still, it's spread out. I mean,
Oh, it
it's not
is.
like we don't have anything.
Yeah.
well, we certainly don't have the amount that we have uptown.
I think, here's the
And I
thing.
think that's important to know because this public art, that I've been involved in for a long time has been presented at the Virginia Municipal League as
Oh, yeah.
a workshop to teach people in other cities how to get a public art program started.
Yeah.
And what they do, they can't believe that all of the public art here in Newport News has been donated by other people. We haven't bought it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're
But we
installing.
still give to
still-
the organization.
Yeah, but majority of it is paid for by businessmen, other businesses.
Do you have a percentage for public art on like new development?
No,
that's a-
but the main thing that when we did the presentation, the main thing communities are saying that they can't sell it to the community.
They don't
because
have
the people-
money.
Well, not only that, but they say they can't sell it to the community because people will start saying, are you spending tax dollars
Right.
on art?
So what
that
we
goes
did
back to
was,
that as well.
it went to a community thing,
Right.
where so they could get a public art program started without having to have money from the city.
You wonder how you sell it to those naysayers?
Yeah.
Say, look, we have problems. Every city has problems, and we are spending money to address all of those things. And says, and ask that person, says, do you really want us to do nothing but that stuff? Nothing but fix the potholes, there, to literally make it functional and safe and battleship grade? Because if that's the case, I don't think you're going to live here very long. Because you're going to go, what? It's ugly.